West Side Story comes from legendary filmmaker Steven Spielberg in his first attempt at making a musical. Did he pull it off? In adaptation of the 1957 musical, West Side Story explores the forbidden love and the rivalry between the Jets and the Sharks, two teenage street gangs of different ethnic backgrounds. I was excited for West Side Story, even though I've never seen the musical and I've never seen the original film, but I heard it's Romeo and Juliet, but a modern telling of it. And Steven Spielberg, he is the greatest of all time. If you don't think he's the greatest of all time, you can't argue that he's at least top 3. He has created some of the most iconic films in the history of Hollywood. And he still makes films, and I will say a lot of the films he's made lately have been very underrated, but they're definitely not even close to some of the things he's made in his career. But they're all good films. But like I said, since they don't feel anywhere close to what he normally makes, they kind of go under the radar. And when I heard he was going to make a musical, and it was going to be West Side Story, I was extremely excited. I love musicals, and I would love to see the GOAT at his attempt at making a musical. So how was Spielberg's West Side Story? I thought this film was absolutely fantastic. This is one of the best films I've seen all year, and this is one of the best films that Spielberg has made in a very long time. To no surprise, he has knocked it out of the park. He has knocked it out of the park. His first attempt at making a musical. I mean, that is just fucking incredible. And that's the first thing I want to talk about are the musical numbers. The songs are fantastic here. They're so great. When I left the theater, I immediately started listening to the soundtrack. I know that has nothing to do with really Spielberg or the 2021 version of West Side Story because these songs have been around for over 50 years, over 60 years now. But I still gotta give this film credit that these songs are so great. And watching this in theaters, when the music was on these big speakers, it just had this pop to it that you're sucked into these musical numbers. You're sucked into the experience. And it was wonderful. These musical numbers are fantastic. They're choreographed perfectly. The shots are filmed so perfectly. Everything is just perfect. Spielberg, you can tell that he obviously is a big fan and cares a lot about West Side Story, the musical and the original film. Even though I haven't seen the musical or the original film, I have to imagine that Spielberg did absolute justice to this material. It looked incredible. The musical sequences were wonderful. They were colorful. They felt epic, like an epic cinematic experience. And I haven't felt like that in a long time seeing a Spielberg film on the big screen. These musical numbers just popped. I can't really explain it. You just have to see it to believe it. Rachel Zegler is absolutely amazing here. I read that this is her first film. She has played Maria on the West Side musical many times, and Spielberg said that she is the best Maria he's ever seen, and he needed to cast her in the film. And I can see what he's talking about. The man obviously knows what he's talking about because she was fucking amazing. What a debut. What a debut for her. I already read that she's going to be Snow White. I mean, wow. She was absolutely incredible. And another performance that really stood out to me was Ariana DeBose. She was awesome. She gave this wit. She was amazing in the musical numbers, and she was fantastic. And she gave a very emotional performance as well. I won't talk about the movie at all, story-wise, if you don't know what happened in West Side Story, because I didn't really know some of the twists and turns, but she was incredible in the scenes that she really needed to show a lot of emotion. I mean, those two together were just amazing. They stole the show. Now, I'll talk about the story now. I said before it's like a modern telling of Romeo and Juliet, and it kind of is like that, but there's way more to it. Like I said, I haven't seen this material before, so there were moments throughout the film that I found pretty shocking and actually got very intense and very emotional. This film was just powerful. It was an experience. I haven't felt like this in a long time seeing a movie in theaters where I was extremely emotionally impacted by what happened to these characters and everything. And it was just refreshing. I have some issues. I'll go in quickly. Not all the performances worked for me. And you could tell that it is Spielberg's first attempt at a musical because there are some editing choices that I think if he was an experienced musical director that he wouldn't make. But they kind of became a little distracting. It's just me nitpicking, honestly. And there's a musical number that happens after something that really intense happens where I feel like it could have been placed somewhere different. Now, granted, if this is a remake, which it is a remake, I don't know why I said if it's a remake, it's a remake. I feel like that musical number probably did happen after that intense moment in the musical, so they didn't want to switch it around. But I don't know, it was kind of like jarring emotional moments. Like, your emotions are here, and then this musical number happens, and it just felt a little off. Like I said, me nitpicking. I don't want to nitpick anymore, because this was truly an epic experience. One of the best experiences I've had all year at the movies. And I'm just happy because I was scared this film was just going to be all right, and I would have had to come to that realization that Spielberg is maybe just making okay films now. Pretty good films, but nothing close to what he's known for being the master of. But this film gave me hope that Spielberg has still got it and he can still make some great films. West Side Story was an epic musical experience, and Steven Spielberg knocked it out of the park with his first attempt at a musical. This is one of the best films of the year, and this is one of the best films Spielberg has made in a long time. The musical sequences here are incredible. You can tell that Spielberg really cares about the source material and gives so much love to each shot, to each frame of this film. And everything just feels epic in scale. And if you see this in theaters, you're really just sucked into the experience. Rachel Zegler and Ariana DeBose are incredible in this film. They steal every single scene they're in. I hope one of them gets nominated for an Oscar. They absolutely deserve it. And Rachel Zegler, this was her first credit as an actress. And what a fucking debut. I have some minor issues, specifically not all the performances work, really just specifically one performance. And if you had to guess, you probably guessed what I'm talking about. I have some small editing issues, and there was a song placement that was a little weird for me. And yes, the story is a little unbelievable and a little cheesy. But you can't think like that, because this was just a wonderful film with a story that was emotional and powerful. And it was one of the best films I've seen all year. I'm just happy to know that Steven Spielberg has still got it. I'll give West Side Story 9 Davy Daves. Please go see this in theaters. I don't want this to flop. It's too good of a movie to flop. I guarantee you'll have a great time if you go see West Side Story, because there's no way it's going to make any money after next week when Spider-Man comes out. So please go see West Side Story. I promise you, you won't be disappointed, especially if you love musicals. So West Side Story, let me know what you guys thought of it. You've seen it. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more Dave Dave's Takes.